Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you've been having plenty of time for knitting and crocheting and a very good week. Thank you so very much for the kind well wishes on the Yarn with Heart 2-year Podiversary last week. It is such a bright spot in my week to be here with you all each week and to hear from you in the comments and emails. Friday has become one of my favorite days. I am Kathy W. Warm welcome everyone to Yarn with Heart. Do you have cups and yarn ready? Let's settle in for a visit. Today there is so much to chat about. Third quarter stash down results and a roundup of what I think of stash down 2025 so far. Gifts from last week's video, one for me that was a surprise, and also gifts for a couple of lucky viewers, and a road trip that resulted in more than just our yarn acquisitions. Next week's video will be another road trip, so you might want to subscribe and even hit the notification bell so you won't miss next week's video. Today we're diving straight into the third quarter progress for Stash Down 2025. Can you believe how fast this year is flying? For anyone who is new, this year I am weighing projects that I've made with yarns that I bought up until December 2024. So in September, I was able to finish a number of items, and a hint, I seem to have hit a sweet spot where the past 3 months, the number of grams of yarn that I am using per month is about the same each month during July, August, and September. So first, a quick peek at the items that I made during September. One that you haven't seen as yet, it's one that I just finished, is the Eliza Dishcloth. This is by the Kitchen Sink Shop, and I received it through an email because she sends one per month to people who are on her email list, and that was September's email. And then the next one is the Honey Ripple Scarf, number 2, the second one that I made by Burgundy and Blush. The next one that was in my September stash down is the Zigzag Kids Hat, and this pattern is by Sayaka, Kanno. And to go along with that, I made a Valentine cowl, and this was heavily modified. It was not exactly according to that cowl. The original pattern that I used was by the Blue Mouse. And the next one, again, a modification of a pattern. This is the Valentina Bed Runner that I started with. It was a pattern by Veronika Cromwell, and I made this one into a prayer shawl. And of course, just to let you know, the details about all of these makes are in my September videos. So if you wanted to know more about the yarns that I used, the hook sizes, any details about the patterns, you can look into my September videos. And the pattern name and the designer, that information is in the description box. This one is called the Alpenhaus Throw. It's by Jessica Reeves. I made this one into a lappan size. And another one that I made into a lappan size is called the 5-Hole Windowpane Blanket, and it's by Lauren Irving. There we go. So those were the larger projects, and I also did 3 washcloths. These are the final 3 in this make-along that was based on this book, A Year in Dishcloths by Maggie Weldon. This make-along, crochet-along, was hosted by Laura from Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming. And the 3 final dishcloths. First one is called Illusions, and I definitely modified this one. I didn't use the thread, and I also didn't do the alternating yarns. I just used one yarn in the body of that one. Also, one called Ruffled Square. And the final one, this did not count into my stash down because I didn't have these colors and I had to buy yarn for this one. All the rest of the projects, they did count for my stash down. So for stash down 2025 in September, my totals added on 1,778 grams, or about 63 ounces, and that's 17 and a half skeins of yarn used in September, for a total of 10 items finished for the month. 4 of those were dishcloths. 3 of those dishcloths were in stash down. 1 was not a stash down. This stash down idea has changed quite a few things for me, and I'm so happy that I found out about this. I first heard of stash down in 2024 because of watching Judy's videos, as she had done a stash down for quite a while, and then I went to Bridget's channel to learn more. That is Queen's Crafts by Bridget, if you would like to find out the many ways to track a stash down. I track mine by the grams or ounces. Some people do it by the number of projects, some by the number of skeins, others by saving their ball bands. And now, after 3/4 of the way through 2025, I took time this week to think about the whole stash down thing. And these are some of the reasons that I think that I might continue this again next year. The reasons why for me are, first of all, it is fun for me to know how much yarn I use, and I challenge myself each month to use as much or more yarn as the month before. And to be honest, if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it. Also, stash down reminds me to look first at the yarn that I have to try and find something there before I buy. I also do still buy yarn, and when I get something, it is often because it's a new yarn or a new color that I don't already have, or I buy because I need a little bit extra to finish a project. Sometimes I buy because it is on sale too, and now after stash down, I am careful about how much and what I decide to purchase. Also, when I do make a purchase, I use a pen to write the year that I bought the yarn, just really tiny, on the ball band. And now that I am stash downing, with less yarn squeezed on my shelves, I have fun organizing my yarn in new ways, and I have surprised myself. Have you ever found yarns that you completely forgot were there, or found two yarns that will work together and you didn't realize that you could use those two yarns in the same project? That's happened to me, and it is like finding a gift. If you would like to join in and start doing your own stash down, you can pop over to Queen's Crafts by Bridget to find out the many ways how. I'm finding that both joining the stash down and the make-alongs that I follow have all really encouraged me to use yarns in my stash this year. Speaking of make-alongs, if you have a picture that you would like to include in the Something New slideshow for this month, please send your picture to me today with Something New make-along in the subject line. Or if you are watching this video on Saturday morning, you can send it to me by noon on Saturday, October 4th. That will give enough time for me to get the slideshow ready for this coming Monday. Also, this is going to be a short month with not as much time for making our projects because the slideshow is going to be on October 6th. So here is a bit of a surprise. Extra notice about the upcoming color that we will be working with during the Something New make-along during October. So anyone who is using yarn, if you can include some variegated yarn in your project, and anyone who is using fabric, if you can include some tie-dye. The color that you choose is your choice, as long as it is either variegated or tie-dye. And this might be good timing for me to pop in the one little work in progress that I have been busy with this week. It is one of the smaller than a Breadbox items that I'm working on for the October 17th slideshow. This is a free pattern on Ravelry by the Kitchen Sink shop, and the name of this pattern is My Favorite Things. I'm using Bernat Handicrafter yarn for this. I have no idea what the color name is, as it was gifted to me with no ball band. However, it is a lovely shade of coral. The needle size that I'm using is a 4.5 millimeter, and to convert my double point needles to straight needles, I'm popping stitch savers onto the pointy ends. Wouldn't this pattern also make a pretty scarf? So to anyone who would like your picture included in the smaller than a Breadbox slideshow on October 17th, please send your pictures to me by October 14th with smaller than a Breadbox in the subject. And to find out more about this make-along, you can pop over to the September 19th video, and also there is information about that new make-along in the description box. And now let's share a bit with each other as it's time for viewer news. For anyone who is new, this is where viewers can let us all know about fun, interesting things happening, ones that you would like me to share with the community. There are a few upcoming events. The first one is the Dixon Lambtown Festival on October 4th and 5th at the fairgrounds in Dixon, California. Exciting news for anyone in the Cali area. And second, for knitters, there is a free event hosted by Ashley Wempy. It is called Knit Your Own Adventure, and that starts on October 7th. For crocheters, those who enjoy sampler blankets, Madam Stitch has a blanket crochet along. 3 squares are available for free each week, and then the border is available at the end of October. And one bit of viewer news from me. I heard about this in the Toronto Knitters Guild newsletter. In the most recent newsletter, there was a link to a video by Rosemary and Pines Fiber Arts. Recently, she showcased amazing Canadian knitting patterns and Canadian designers. I will share the link to this in the description box. You might see some designers there that you recognize and ones that you didn't know were Canadian. I found out that this channel has a series of videos showcasing pattern designers from around the world. If you hear of anything that you would like me to mention, news, events, exciting things to share, please send me an email and put viewer news or viewer share in the subject line. Thank you so much to those who have already shared viewer news with the community. Next, some happy mail that I was very, very surprised about. The first surprise is that a lovely viewer named Wildflower Spirit Creations gifted me a lovely pattern. Thank you so very much for the shawl pattern. The next surprise, as it was Judy's birthday in September and not my birthday, a package arrived in the mail looking like this. And of course, before I opened it, I checked with Judy. She said, "Oh, go ahead and be sure to read the note first that's from her." And usually I do not read the inside of cards or notes on the channel, but I will read the first few sentences of this to you all. It says, "Hi, Kathy. Calm down. This is not from me. See the card enclosed." So, there we go. And then there was a nice card in here, and it said my name on it. And when I read the card, I realized that this viewer of my channel had contacted Judy and asked Judy to forward something on to me. What a surprise, and thank you so, so much. Now, I checked with her, and she said that I can let you know that this beautiful gift is from her. I'm so surprised and so grateful. A pattern and the yarn to make the shawl is from Wildflower Spirit Creations. And so here we go. This is the yarn. And this yarn is called Sacred Journey Hues. And it is 50% cotton, 50% mulberry silk. And it is moon gleam fingering. In total, there's 1,200 meters, 1,311 yards of these beautiful colors. moongleam fingering. Oh, such beautiful colors. And they're to make that wonderful shawl with. This is a yarn that I absolutely love from Expression Fiber Arts, and it is in some of my favorite colors. Annalise, thank you so very much. And Judy checked and found that she also has some of the same yarn, and we are planning both to make this shawl together. You have inspired both of us to make something beautiful using the same pattern and the same yarn, and I am so very grateful, Annalise, that you thought of me. I save all the cards and emails that I receive from viewers. I really do appreciate the comments, emails, and cards. Thank you, Annalise, and thank you to everyone who reaches out to me. And now I'm going to pause for a moment because we're going to jump right into the road trip that Jeff and I enjoyed. One moment. Here I am, I'm back. I've got all my goodies ready to show, and let's jump right into it. An in real life friend invited Jeff and I to meet her at a yarn yard sale that is held twice a year by a fiber artist and knitting instructor. Gabriella is a graduate in fashion design, and knitting is her focus. You can find Gabriella online by searching Pine View Designs Knitting Club, and I will type her website information in the description box. It was such a welcoming, friendly atmosphere. There were some prepared kits with yarn and pattern included. Here are pictures of a few of those. Also, a few pictures of items with patterns that are available on Ravelry that I was particularly interested in. I enjoyed looking at the samples that were on display. These were all available for sale, and considering the beautiful yarns used and the workmanship, I was very tempted. Looking at some of these in the pictures is very inspirational too. There was a covered yarn building with a wide selection of fibers to choose from. I found a specific yarn there that I had been looking for to supplement yarn that I have in stash. This one is Katia Belize, and it is 55% cotton, 45% acrylic. These are 50-gram balls, and I got 3. And now I have 3 of these in stash, and with the 3 that I purchased here, I can make something more substantial. It's got such beautiful color changes in this yarn. And when I got home and checked, it was such a wonderful surprise to find that the lot numbers of all 6 even match. So it's almost like it was meant to be. So that was one of my purchases. There was a great selection of books, and I had difficulty restraining myself to only choose a couple of those. And the ones that I chose, one is called Knit Along, Celebrating the Tradition of Knitting Together. This is by Larissa Brown and Martin John Brown. That was one of the books that I purchased. Another is called A Gathering of Lace by Meg Swanson. And a third book is called Knit, Sock, Love by Cookie A. So that was really nice to see that there were beautiful books there. And, oh, and I found a very nice project bag there too. So cute. Of course, I did find some other beautiful yarns. I cannot remember the exact price of these, but for smaller project, these one skein treats are luscious. Here is what I found in the discounted yarn area. This first one is called Barocco Summer Silk. It's 45% silk, 43% cotton, 12% nylon. As soon as I felt this yarn, I fell in love with it, and I thought I must find something to make with this. 240 yards, 220 meters, and it is just so soft. And the other that I found that I just had to, is by Expression Fiber Arts, Bamboo Alpaca Fingering, 80% viscose bamboo, 20% alpaca, and this is in the color Spontaneity. It's 351 meters, 384 yards. And such a beautiful spring-like color. I hope the color is showing up nicely on the screen. So those were 2 yarn purchases. And also in this section, Jeff found some lovely yarn that I will enjoy making into a blanket for donation. There we go, and these colors look beautiful together. I think that'll make a lovely blanket. And this was such a lovely place to shop. The prices here were all very attractive, and truly, I love all my yarn purchases. And because I made a purchase, I was allowed to go to something called the bonus baskets and choose one extra item to bring home. I was so excited. Excuse the crinkle. I was so excited that there was a yarn brand that I had never seen in store and yet always wanted to try. This is by Rowan. It's called Summer Tweed. Each of these is 50 grams. It's 70% silk, 30% cotton. And in here was all of this yarn, and I received this as a bonus in all of these colors. I was so excited that there was a yarn brand that I have never seen in store, and this is the bonus that I found in such beautiful colors and a substantial quantity. When I was ready to leave, there were circular knitting needles at the checkout table, and it was by chance that there was a size that I definitely needed. This will be the first time I try Chiagu needles. Perfect size for the chunky weight yarns that I knit into hats for donation. This is 16-inch and they're 6.5 millimeter size needles. And then when I was talking to Gabriella about possibly knitting my first pair of full-size socks, she went to the house and came back with a size needles that will work really well for Magic Loop. And This would be for working DK or sport weight yarn, and it will be my first time using wooden circulars, and the brand for these is called Luca. When I discovered it is a Danish brand, and that name means happiness. I'm quite excited to try these knitting needles. There, these are 2.5 millimeter, and they're 32 inches, so that I can try that magic loop. I'm curious, when it comes to the tools you use, do you have a favorite type of crochet hooks or a favorite knitting needles that you always use, or do you like to experiment and try new things? And now about the Pineview Designs Knitting Club. If you live north of Toronto, you might want to check this website out. There's a wide variety of classes available. Gabriella says that she has yarn yard sales 2 times a year, in the autumn and in the spring. If you do not live in this area, you might want to check in your area for crochet instructors or knitting instructors, as they might have similar offerings. And for something that we have all been waiting for, to see who the 2 lucky people will be. Last week, there were lovely mystery bags from Aberdeen's Wool shown, and a chance to have your name added to the Wheel of Names. The rules for this draw are in the September 26th video and September 26th description box. One moment and a quick pause while I call Jeff to hold the camera and get the screen ready to spin the wheel. Here are chances at a couple of gifts. For 2 lucky people, there will be 2 spins of the wheel, and 2 people will receive a prize. A reminder that because I am not a business and cannot figure out how to manage the tariff paperwork, if the gift is won within the United States, I can make other arrangements of similar value with any USA winner. And for some other extra excitement, Canada Post is on full strike at the moment, so there might be a delay to get any gifts in the mail to other winners. There will be options that we can talk about when the winners contact me by email. Both people who are the lucky ones will be drawn today, and of course the same person cannot win both prizes. The lucky people will each win one of the bags from Aberdeen's Wool and should email me by October 9th. If I am not contacted by that day, I will redraw for that gift during the Friday, October 10th video. For some added fun, for all those whose name is on this wheel, I will keep your names on the wheel for a future draw. That will be whenever Yarn with Heart reaches 1,000 subscribers. Months and months ago, at 500 subscribers, I promised a gift would be available when the channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, and those whose name is already on this wheel will get an extra chance at that draw. If you would like your name added for this 1,000 subscriber draw and it isn't already on there today, just email me by October 10th and let me know. Of course, I have purchased everything in these gifts, and YouTube has nothing to do with this. Anyone age 18 and older could enter. I will pay shipping anywhere in the world where the price is allowed to get the item to the winner, except that I cannot send to the USA for reasons mentioned above. The 2 winners will be responsible for any duty, taxes, or extra charges beyond that. And As mentioned before, winners have until October 9th to contact me with their address. Otherwise, I will spin the wheel again on October 10th to find another winner. And now, let's shuffle and get ready to spin the wheel and see who wins. Good luck, everybody. And the first winner is Doris. Congratulations to you. And now let's spin the wheel a second time to see who wins the second one. And the second one is Grandma 6 Knits 211. Congratulations to both Doris and Grandma 6. Could you please send me an email at the email address on the screen? To everyone, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy your crochet, enjoy your knitting, and I hope to see you this Monday, October 6th, for the slideshow.